So, we are in a totally new era of AI, right? We're moving way beyond simple tools that just follow our commands. Now we're building autonomous agents, things that actually make their own decisions. And that is a massive shift, and it changes everything about how we make sure they're reliable and, most importantly, trustworthy.
All right, to really get a grip on this, let's use a brilliant analogy that just makes this whole complex idea crystal clear. We're going to think about a kitchen. What's the real difference between a regular line cook and a world-class gourmet chef? The answer to that is the key to everything we're talking about today.
Okay, so your traditional software, that's your line cook. Super predictable, super reliable. They've got a recipe card, it's probably laminated, and they follow it to the letter every single time. Checking their quality is a piece of cake. Did they follow the steps? Yep, done. But an AI agent, now that is a whole different beast. That's our gourmet chef, thrown into one of those high-pressure mystery box challenges on TV. They get a goal, like, make me something amazing, and a random box of ingredients. You can't just use a simple checklist for that, can you? You have to evaluate their creativity, their judgment, their technique, their entire reasoning process.
And that brings us to a really crucial point. You can't just treat quality like some kind of garnish you sprinkle on at the very end. It's not a final taste test. For these new AI agents, trust and quality have to be, baked right into the recipe from the very beginning. It's got to be a fundamental pillar of their architecture.
So, if we're going to judge our new AI chef, where do we even begin? Well, you start with the most obvious thing, right? You start from the outside in. You taste the final dish, you look at the result, and you ask the simplest, most important question. Did it actually work? Did it achieve the goal?
But here's where it gets interesting, because quality isn't just one thing. It's not a simple pass or fail. We have to look at it through these four critical lenses. First, there's effectiveness. That's the obvious one. Did it work? But then you have efficiency. A great result that wasted a ton of time and money isn't really a win, is it? Then there's robustness, which is huge. What happens when things go wrong? When the power flickers? Does it just completely fall apart, or can it adapt? And maybe the most important of all, safety and alignment. Is our agent operating within the ethical boundaries we set for it? And this is exactly why that rigorous judgment is so vital. Because when these agents fail, it's not always a big, loud, obvious crash. Nope. A lot of the time, the failures are subtle and kind of sneaky. They can hallucinate facts that sound totally plausible but are just wrong. They can amplify hidden biases from their training data. Or their performance can just slowly get worse over time as the real world changes around them. These aren't just bugs. These are trust killers that can cause very real harm.
But any great food critic knows that just tasting the final dish is only half the story. To truly understand quality, to figure out why a dish was amazing or why it failed, you have to get a look inside the kitchen. You need to see how the chef actually cooked the meal.
And this brings us to a core message, and it's a really powerful one. The true measure of an agent's quality isn't just in the final output. The truth is found in its entire decision-making process, that full journey from the initial prompt all the way to the final answer. That journey, that's what we call the trajectory. And this right here perfectly illustrates the massive shift in thinking we need. The old way was black box evaluation. You ask a question, you get an answer, and you have no clue what happened in between. It can tell you that the agent failed, sure, but glass box evaluation lets you see the entire step-by-step process. It tells you why the agent failed, which is the only way you can actually fix it and make it better.
So if we want to look inside that glass box kitchen, how do we actually do it? Well, our critic needs the right set of tools. And in the world of AI, these tools are known as the 3 pillars of observability. This is basically how we get to see the agent's thought process.
These 3 tools, they just work together perfectly. First up, you've got logs. Think of these like the chef's personal diary. Every single little action is written down with a timestamp. Then you have traces. The traces are what take all those scattered diary entries and weave them together into a coherent story of how the meal was made from start to finish. And finally, you've got metrics. That's the aggregated scorecard, the final review that summarizes the chef's performance over dozens or hundreds of meals.
Now, the ultimate goal here isn't just about judging a single dish or critiquing one performance. It's about building an entire system, a kind of culinary school, if you will, that reliably produces trustworthy, master-level AI agents every single time. And you do this with something called the Agent Quality Flywheel. It's a continuous, self-reinforcing loop. You start by defining quality. Then you build the agent so you can actually see what it's doing. You evaluate its process, and here's the magic part. You build a feedback loop. This means every single failure automatically gets turned into a new test for the future. It's like if every time the chef burned a dish, the kitchen's recipe book was instantly updated with a warning. Every mistake makes the entire system smarter, and that flywheel just starts spinning faster and faster.
So, what are the big takeaways from all of this? Principle number 1 is the most critical. Quality isn't an ingredient you just add at the date. You can't bake a cake and then try to mix in the eggs later. It has to be part of the recipe from the very beginning. It's got to be designed into the agent's DNA.
The second principle to burn into your brain is this. The final answer is just the last sentence in a long, long story. The full, unvarnished truth of an agent's quality, its logic, its safety, its efficiency, is written in its process. The trajectory is the truth.
And finally, never forget this. While AI and automation give us incredible scale, human judgment is still the ultimate source of truth. Automation can help grade thousands of dishes, but we are the ones who have to write the recipe for what good actually means in the first place. We define the standards.
So yeah, the future of AI is definitely agentic. These autonomous systems are coming, no doubt about it. The real question isn't if we can build them, it's how we will build them to be reliable. Because at the end of the day, an AI chef that we can't trust is one we'll never let in our kitchen.